Imagine waking up on a completely normal day. The same routine, the same habits, the same news that has become almost boring. Nothing feels different. Until suddenly, your phone vibrates. A simple notification. Breaking news. But this specific sentence makes you freeze in place. An unprecedented military escalation between the United States of America and forces in the Middle East. At first, you might think you've seen this before. Maybe dozens of times. Tensions, threats, aggressive statements. But the truth that no one really pays attention to is that every major war in history started the exact same way. Something small, a repeated headline, people get used to it, and then suddenly, everything explodes. That's exactly what happened when World War I began. It was just an incident, the assassination of one man, but soon after, the entire world fell into a nightmare that lasted for years. The same pattern repeated in World War II. Tensions, expansion, decisions, and then a full-scale explosion. Millions died. Entire cities vanished, and history itself was rewritten. And now, the world might be standing on that same edge again. But this time, it's far more dangerous. Because today's world is faster, more connected, and far more fragile. Any decision can spread its impact in seconds. And at the first real moment of escalation, the U.S. government moves at an unnatural speed because a country like the United States of America has the ability to shift from peace to war within hours. Military bases everywhere, naval fleets, the most powerful air force in the world, everything starts moving. Jets take off, aircraft carriers head toward conflict zones, soldiers prepare. And all of this happens so fast, it shocks everyone watching. At the same moment, the internet turns into another battlefield. News spreads like wildfire. Videos, leaks, analysis, rumors. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone is afraid, because in times like this, truth gets mixed with fear, and no one really knows what's actually happening. Within the first hours, financial markets begin to collapse. The U.S. stock market, the heart of the global economy, loses billions within minutes. Investors panic, companies freeze, money flows into safe havens, and this isn't fiction. This has happened before during crises like the 2008 global financial crisis, when the entire world faced economic collapse because of a single crisis. So imagine what a war could do. As tensions rise, oil prices begin to skyrocket. Because regions like the Gulf hold some of the most critical energy supplies in the world, and any threat there means global disaster. This already happens every time tensions rise between the United States of America and Iran. Energy prices react instantly, and markets panic. But as events continue, war takes on a new form. It's no longer just tanks and missiles. It becomes cyber warfare. Because today, countries can attack each other without firing a single bullet. Cyber attacks can shut down banks, disable airports, leave entire cities without electricity. And this has already happened in modern conflicts. What makes it even more terrifying is that this type of warfare is almost impossible to control. It happens in the shadows and at incredible speed. With every passing day, tensions grow. More countries begin to get involved. Allies step in, others oppose. And here, the terrifying scenario begins to emerge. The possibility of a global war. Just like what happened in World War I, when alliances dragged entire nations into conflict. Or World War II, which started with limited expansion and ended in global devastation. And as escalation continues, the greatest fear appears: nuclear weapons. This has happened before in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But today's weapons are thousands of times more powerful. The world could enter what scientists call a nuclear winter. The sky would darken, the sun could disappear behind layers of smoke, temperatures would drop, agriculture would collapse, and famine would spread across the planet. And through all of this, daily life begins to change. People lose their jobs, prices rise, travel becomes restricted, anxiety grows. Every single day brings new fear, And over time, even if the war feels far away, its impact becomes very close. Because the world is now deeply connected, anything that happens anywhere reaches everywhere. As the war continues, entire countries could collapse. Giant corporations could disappear. Currencies could lose their value. We've seen smaller versions of this in past crises, but war can amplify it beyond imagination. And slowly, people begin to change. Fear becomes normal. Anxiety becomes part of everyday life. Thinking about the future becomes harder. And in the end, wars do eventually end. But the ending is not a return. It's the beginning of a completely new world. A different world where nothing goes back to the way it was. Not economies, not politics, not even people. And the question that remains, are we close to this scenario? Or have we already started it without realizing? Because the uncomfortable truth is that the world today is full of tensions between the United States of America and Russia, between the United States of America and China, and in the Middle East with Iran. And every one of these conflicts could be the spark that starts a chain of events no one can stop. With every new headline, every statement, every escalation, the world moves one step closer. A small step, but it could be the beginning of something much bigger. Something that could change everything forever. And maybe the most dangerous part of all is that people get used to it. They see the news and say, it's normal. This normal could be the beginning of the end, because every major catastrophe in history started with something people thought was normal, until it was too late.